Alright, hello guys. I'm back after a long hiatus of content creation and playing the game. I got inspired to try to make some new content by a Discord where people can ask for coaching advice, and I thought, why not make a video about it? So this is very much a test. Let me know what you think. Give me feedback, what you would like to see, what I should change, and stuff. And so the idea of this is essentially people post a game on the Discord and then they ask specific questions or just ask me to take a look at the game in general. And in this case, it was God Forbid who asked me about this game. He's playing as Ink King in this game and essentially said Paredet was always ahead and how come and yada yada. So I took a brief look at the game and I will share with you what I thought while looking at it. Um, the first thing I want to point out before we get into any specifics, if we look at the game ratings, we're at the almost Grandmaster level for Mr. Ink King. The enemy team is Grandmaster level and Paredet is one of the best players of all time. So it doesn't matter if we fall behind a little bit, if we're just thinking about winning the game. If we play a normal game, don't make huge mistakes, don't giga feed our guy, it's totally fine to let Pavedet carry us. But it's also fine to try to snowball and be ahead. But from a strategic point of view, taking into account the ratings, our goal should be to slightly enable Pavedet without making any large mistakes or forcing calls or whatever. All right, so we're playing as champion, and you can see the 6 units we picked as Ink King. I have abused some mod powers to look at the initial role. So let's quickly have a look. Our initial role was Masked Spirit, Golden Buckler, Slime Lava, Treant, Pilgrim, Nightmare, Gun, Badger, Shadow Dancer, Firelord. And with champion, in my opinion, this is pretty difficult to play. So we don't have a great champion opener. I think Nightmare is probably the best we can do, but it's not like we don't have a go-to thing. We have to pick some awkward things. And I don't love Nightmare with Mask Spirit as tier 1, but you kind of need a tier 1 with Nightmare, so it's a little bit difficult. I would have considered not using Pilgrim and taking Firelord because Phoenix is really, really good with Nightmare. You can also make an argument that Slime Lava isn't the best pairing with Nightmare. Maybe you could pick a Badger, but it also comes with certain issues later on in the game. So really, I don't hate the role pick. I'm just saying it's a very difficult role pick, and of course you can also hide your champion and pick it on the Shadow Dancer later, but we don't really have a good combo with it. And we also don't have a good pairing for Gun, so I think all in all, I would have probably done Champion Nightmare as well. Alright, so let's quickly go through the game here in the game viewer. So obviously we king up on 1. Not obviously, but it's very fair. We push to 5 workers. Here it shows 7 workers, but we were 5 workers initially on wave 3, where we add 1 Masked Spirit with a Slime. I don't think, like usually when you open Champion Nightmare, you want to be 6 workers on wave 3, but I'm not sure if it really works with Mask, because Mask is usually a good pairing with Nightmare, because it makes the Nightmare 3-shot wave 3 instead of barely not. But with Champion, Nightmare does that anyway, so Mask is it's really a shitty pairing. It's really, in my opinion, by far the worst tier 1 to pair Nightmare with. So I think it's fine to stay 5 workers here. It's also good that we just incomed the blue guy. We get income here, so we push the 8th worker. Good decision. And now the first real decision that we have to make here is essentially what is our game plan going to be. And if we see someone open flower with 5 howlers, first of all, we probably want to pull our hair out because it's really bad. And then it's very obvious that we want to target wave 7, and this is also very much in line with our ELO game plan that we want to enable a little bit. And with this send on wave 4, we always have the chance to go straight wave 7. And this is why, in my opinion, sending on wave 4 into Nightmare is not a good play. Because this gives us the 8th worker and relieves all the pressure for wave 5, and we're decent on wave 6 anyway, and we're decent on wave 7, so now we can apply some real pressure, which is also what we do. We add the Treant, perfect pairing, awesome. We get another send, and we don't push, which is exactly correct, because we're already massively under, and because our mate leaks small, so we have a long wave. We see Pipsqueak is added, perfect, not a good answer for wave 7, doesn't matter what blue does, even if he full shifts on 6 and adds a tier 6 on 7, he will still get giga wrecked by our send. So what we do is we add more stuff, and this is something that I would personally have played differently. I'll come back to that, but let's follow the pressure line. We hold on 6, we get another send, so we push to 10 workers, and then we get 240 out. He adds a Butter Badger, but that's just too little too late, and he leaks 110%. He's on 86 income. Our teammate is on 120 income, we're on 110, and he leaks giga big. So we're in a superb position just after this wave 7. So far, we've played this brilliantly. So here's something I would do differently. Looking at this, we have to add something for wave 6. And really, this comes back to what I said earlier. I don't like the pairing Mask Spirit with Nightmare. Why don't I like it? Because they have the same typings and they are the same type of unit. Both are carry / DPS units that need to be protected, and both deal pierce damage, and both are swift armor, so you're really setting yourself up to be hit hard on wave 9. And especially Nightmare is a snowball unit where you really just need tanks to enable it to carry. And also Slime, which you eventually want to upgrade to a Slime Mummy, is kind of a unit where you want more tanks. So I think just leaving this as a small mask and adding, say, one more slime, say, here, and maybe 2 masks in the split to kite or something, would be a better option. Anyway, we are still in a really good spot. Our high elo teammate with a decent role is ahead with bounty hunters. Everything's going well. And now what we do is we income the guy that's already behind to sort of secure our game. And I kind of like building a slime mummy for 8. I would have considered not adding this mask. I mean, sure, it protects this, but are we really worried after the 60 here? I don't know. It's not a big deal, I guess. And then comes wave 9, where we upgrade. We kind of shift for a doppel here, which is, I think it's a good play. We're not worried here, and a doppel gives us a clean game. Unfortunately, red leaks on wave 8, which is sort of the worst thing that can happen for our build, because we are actually weak on 9, and then the long wave is kind of rough for us. So we decide to income king, totally fine choice. I think getting the doppel is also fine, because really we don't have a great option that makes us hold the send anyway, and then having the doppel enables us to push. So sure, maybe with like a boom tree or whatever, we hold better against the send. Maybe we even full clear, but is it really worth it to give up push? Because we still need to get the champion doppel on wave 10 or at the latest 11. So I think this is fine. What I would sort of consider doing is, well, I wouldn't want to have the false maiden there. And really the power of Mask as a tier 1 with a Nightmare build, if you have to do it, then at least use it to kite. So I think we really, if we don't add this Mask on wave 8 to sell it, right, we probably have money to add this small mask in the split for wave 9. And this really kites the wave down and gives the Doppel much, much more time to do its thing and to ramp up. I would expect us to do quite a bit better if we have one more mask in the split. And also, if you sort of think, I mean, probably, I'm not so sure if this happens with this positioning, but it might be close for the Slime Mummy not to get full mana. You kind of, in theory, want to have it a little bit further back to ensure it gets full mana, but then if it's the last thing dying besides your Doppel, then after the Slime Mummy dies, the Doppel gets full focus and the Slimes do nothing. So it would be much better to have, say, one Buckler here or the Slime Mummy to the left and then one Buckler sort of further back instead of this False Maiden. Just like really minor things, then you do a little bit better here and you can eke out like one or two more workers afterwards. Right. We income on 10 again, totally fine. We get a Pilgrim out. One Pilgrim has great value because essentially it gives like certain thresholds to certain units. I like having one Pilgrim if I can. And then after we've essentially placed everything, we now plan our mid game, and this is where we reroll. And this is a good choice in my opinion. And in the reroll, we find Windhawk, Angler, Lord of Death, Eternal Wanderer. Angler, of course, completely useless. Windhawk is decent. I mean, we can really sort of change it with our Buckler. And LOD is probably the better choice compared to Pilgrim, just because we need to cover 15, and it's probably better to have an LOD there compared to a Chieftain. There's always some argument to be made to replace the Treant with the Wanderer, and I probably personally would have done it just to have more tanks for the Nightmare. And we really already get the big Tree of Life on the Doppel. So I guess it's better to replace this as well. Don't remember what we did in the game. Right, I can't see it. I can show it in the game what we replaced. Give me a second. Right. We go into the game, profile, inking. Sorry, I should have prepared this, but obviously I'm not prepared because I'm an idiot. Right. Oh, okay. So here we can see that we rerolled our mask. Good choice. We kept the buckler. Is fine. We have Windhawk, we have Wanderer, and we have LOD. Essentially what I said. I personally probably would have considered keeping Mask just to kite a little bit because we don't really need Buckler and Windhawk, but whatever, these are sort of personal choices. I don't think either is a real mistake. Alright, let me go back to the browser and go through the game real quick. With the game plan, okay, obviously the spells were investment, hero, and something irrelevant that no one took. I didn't bother to look it up. Looking at this, there's a very, very clear wave that we want to target, and it's wave 14. Okay, if we look at the builds, we want to target wave 14. And if red and blue were really good players, they would have seen this on wave 9, would have income kinged here, and then saved for wave 13 to protect their 14. But they didn't do this, so we just save. And then there come big sends on wave 14. Paweeded, being the Giga Chat that he is, just easy holds with his Phoenix Elite Archer build. I think you need double 4i against him, but 3.2k value is also insane. He just got crazy snowballing out of the income kinging every wave that he A got and B did. So there's not really, yeah, I mean, he's just turbo ahead and is going to carry. One thing that I want to say is I don't think we should be preparing for wave 13 here. I mean, I'm not sure what the rec values were, so it's always a little bit easier said, right, in hindsight. But our teammate has a Phoenix with really good positioning, and blue is behind, so it's not like our teammate is really leaking. And I would more expect a wave 14 send, because a wave 13 undercut is not really possible given that we got income kinged on 10. And if they really go 13 and we leak small, our teammate holds, then they are just giga dead on 14. Anyway, I don't blame you for building for wave 13. Maybe it was just to be extra safe, given that you are already ahead. Anyway, so wave 14 hits, and I think this is where we run into a little bit of an issue, because probably our slime mummies don't get full mana against the centaur. It's a little bit close. Obviously, the Hellraiser isn't a good choice because it's not enraged, so it's just turbo not worth it. You're better off having more tanks, I think. Just one mask to Giga Kite the wave down here on the right, and then like 2 more small slimes to ensure we get full mana. Kite the centaur a little bit better, then you probably do better. And I also think the sending is not ideal. Like, I don't think you should be sending a witch into a Gate Shadow Dancer build. And this is something sort of to take away. And to me personally, I think this is more important than these minor build adjustments, is what do I send and why? And I think if I look at this build on wave 13, he has 2 options. Maybe he can get the big Shadow Dancer, then he has a negative tank value, or he can get the Iron Scales like he did, then he has some tank value, but not much. And in my experience, unless you have 3 or more witches, Shadow Dancer and Hellgate really out-snowball witches. So witches really profit from very, very long waves, but a hero Hellgate and a Shadow Dancer also giga benefit from this. And I think just pack leader brutes or ogre brutes would do much better. Not necessarily percentage wise, but king damage wise. And we don't really care whether it's like 79% league or 50% league. We want to have as many creeps as healthy as possible alive on the king. So let me briefly try to show what happens if we send an ogre. Right. Now you should see the Legion again. Let's load. We had 360 Mythium. I think it's pack leader, brutes, snail. The unfortunate part is that the brutes do get sniped here because of the flower, so probably it's not the ideal send. But what I really want to say is that you really want to overrun this comp. And as you can see, his tanks are already dead. And if you're kind of lucky, the pack leader stays alive. I did a test earlier where the pack was sniped, and this is an 83% league. And now you may say this is like not a huge difference to in-game, but really it's a lot of difference in terms of king damage. And we clear this so we don't kill our king, okay? So I think against these things, especially low amounts of Mythium, you really don't want to sand Witch. All right, let's get back to why is the Legion so dark? I'll try to fix this for next time. I can't be bothered to fix it now. Anyway, right. One more point on your build. I think the hero that you put should not be where you put it. And this is something, I mean, obviously it feels correct to do it here, but I think it would be much better if you put the Windhawk and Violet 1 square down, because the hero is now buffing 2 bucklers and a Tree of Life, and you really don't want a hero buff on a Tree of Life as it's a buffing unit itself. And if you had it 1 square lower on wave 14, you would, instead of buffing a Tree of Life, which is garbage on the wave, a Royal Guard, which is garbage on the wave, you would end up buffing 2 more Slime Sirens, and I think this would make you hold a little bit better. Anyway, minor detail. And then to wrap this thing up with, you look at the builds and stuff, you could, in theory, looking at this, try to force wave 16. right? Just Giga push, force 16, they suck on 16, just kill them. But I think since you're super ahead, it's just much safer to go longer, one wave or two waves longer, and in this case, you don't push super much or very low, and you just go 17, which is the correct wave to send, because Pawedit is just Giga snowballed, and you're just... He's gonna leak his guy no matter what. Your guy holds, whatever, you'll kill him. Through the leak, you don't give them the chance to Giga cringe you, you force 17. It's the correct play. But again, here, Witches and Mole and Ascent, sorry to say it, but I think it's really, really bad, because again, Witches don't out snowball 2 DKs and Hero Hellgates, and Mole enables him to do better on this wave. I'll try to show it. I think my Legion is somehow very dark on the recording. I'm sorry about that. I'll fix it for next time. I'll load and then send pack imps just to show you how much better this can do. And then maybe we'll wrap it up there, because I think this is a very, this sort of is the biggest mistakes that I could find. So I want to point them out. Browser, get fucked. Yeah, it's still super dark. I don't understand what's going on here. Anyway, the point is, what you want to do is send pack imps to just run over his front line. I think this is still the best DPS send. He's not gonna add more badgers or iron scales. And it's good against all his howlers as well. He has a lot of spam, so imps are even better. Imps are good against spam because they deal so quick damage, so that you just snowball through it and not waste a lot of damage. And as you can see, in game he full health, and here he will be leaking. It says 85% here, okay? So this would have just made it even more clear of a victory on 17, and I think this is just a better send. Obviously, doesn't matter in the game. We are very, very sure that we're winning here anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And the final note is, if you look at your build now, with the hero being 1 square down, you would buff 2 doppels, which is obviously better than what you are doing here. So these are like very, very minor things. But in general, I really like what you did. You picked a good role out of a very, very difficult starting set. You played your mastermind correctly. You played the game state correctly. And I think if you continue playing like this is easily 2.8k level gameplay. And with that, I think I'm going to leave it here. And I hope you could learn something. And thanks for watching.